Hello, Ray. Welcome to Banking Frontiers Live.
Thank you.
Ray Eyring, and he is the MD of Global Business at FS-ISAC. FS-ISAC is a global association or a body comprising of the financial services organizations into the area of security. We have had a wonderful conversation in the past alongside Sibos, and taking it forward from there, today is a day when we are trying to see the world in a reset mode. What have you got to say when it comes to attacks that are happening in a world of reset? What are the kind of three top frauds that are happening today worldwide, especially in the financial services organization?
What we're seeing at the moment with the current crisis is two major changes in the threat landscape for financial services firms. Firstly, obviously, a lot of the workforce in the financial services firms are now working from home. So that's a complete change. They're operating outside the usual perimeter of the financial institutions. The second point is we're seeing an acceleration of the digitization of financial service provision. A lot of users who would previously have been going to their local bank branch or insurance company branch to do business are now being forced, because of lockdowns and risk, to do those activities online. And of course, a lot of the vulnerable people who have been told to stay at home and use digital services may be people who've not used digital services before. So they're also very vulnerable to fraudsters, simply because this is a new experience for them. That said, what we're actually seeing at the moment is not really any new attacks per se. It's the same old phishing campaigns, malware campaigns running as usual, but they're being rebranded to cope with the crisis. So we're seeing that everything is being themed around coronavirus and activities relating to coronavirus to maximize on the profit that the fraudsters can take from the confusion. Fraudsters always enjoy it when there's something happening that's distracting people, as it's easier to prey on them, it's easier to catch people unawares.
Excellent. So you anyways don't see any new kind of frauds, but almost see a continuation of all the frauds, maybe probably increasing at a greater scale during the COVID.
Correct. We are, of course, for example, in the United States, where people are getting bailout checks. We're seeing frauds where the fraudsters are basically trying to trick people into thinking that they need to click on a link in order to collect their payment. We're seeing that kind of thing, and the fraudsters will be tailoring those to particular countries to suit those situations. But by and large, we're seeing much the same kind of activity as usual, but with a coronavirus theme to it.
So have you had any chance to find out which are the different epicenters or maybe hotspots for frauds that are happening worldwide? Is there any kind of study that you have done?
What we're seeing is phishing reports from our members are up about 33% in Q1. So there's definitely, the fraudsters have picked up their activities. We're getting reports from all over the globe. I wouldn't say there's any one particular location. We did do some research where we looked at fake coronavirus domains, and we found a lot of those were registered in the United States, 80% of those. But that's not to say that that's American fraudsters. I think it's simply that it's quick and easy to register a domain in the US. And we've even seen, for example, reports from Indian members who are seeing phishing that have been coming from US web addresses, US domain addresses that are quite genuine. So as always, it's a borderless threat, and you tend to see that the fraudsters will use infrastructure all over the world in order to perpetrate their activities, and that attribution to a particular country is usually quite difficult, except when you actually start arresting people and get into that.
Fantastic. So you spoke about these domains or COVID-specific domains, etc. With the crackdown or shutting down of 87% of the domains, has there been a reduction in the amount of risk that has come down proportionately? Or if not, what is the relationship between such domains and the kind of fraud risks?
In terms of the risk level, I'd say that any kind of activity to make it more difficult for the fraudsters, for example, by taking down their command and control or their phishing domains, is going to reduce risk. It's going to make things more difficult for them. But you're going to be left with a residual risk, which I think for a lot of people and firms is going to be above your risk acceptable risk threshold. So it's an improvement, but it's not gone away. So people still need to be vigilant and pay attention. They need to be sharing and collaborating with their peers, and we certainly recommend intelligence sharing, and that's why we've been expediting some of our own activities to try and help our members get better prepared and have the information that they need to deal with these ongoing threats.
Is there any kind of advisory that, as FS ISAC, you would like to share it with the fraternity about frauds that would probably rise, especially with respect to COVID in the near future, and what kind of precautions should the industry take?
I would certainly say that people should expect to see the usual threats operating. They're going to see malware, they're going to see ransomware, they're going to see denial of service attacks, they're going to see all kinds of fraud attacks, including social engineering attacks. So they need to be vigilant for all of those. I'd advise them to keep plugged into a community of their peers so that they can share experiences amongst that community and learn best practices from other people. You don't want to be in isolation during this time. That's why we've launched our new intelligence exchange platform, which was in development already, but we've expedited that specifically to counter the increased threat landscape, the increased threats that the financial institutions are seeing at the moment.
In fact, I read one very interesting report about FS ISAC Intelligence Exchange, and where you were discussing more about Connect and Share. Connect being the robotic platform for chat-based information exchange. Can you share a little bit about what Connect is all about?
Connect is part of the Intelligence Exchange platform. It's a secure chat app, and it really enables our members to share rather than by email, which is quite an insecure. It enables them to share in real-time chat environment, and we've of course segregated that into many different interest groups so that people can share according to their particular industry vertical. For example, they may have insurance specific or exchange specific discussions that they want to have, according to geography, particular regions or particular countries where people want to share what's going on there, or indeed particular topics of interest, whether that's insider threat or audit and compliance, software automation, or for particular jobs. So for people who, for example, work in risk management, or people who are CISOs. We've got all those different communities all actively sharing in a secure way.
And what activities are you doing right now to get more and more participation from the global financial services fraternity to enter into FS ISAC?
Business as usual with us. A lot of our events, of course, have gone virtual now. So anybody who is interested in joining FS ISAC should still contact us. They can still sign up and participate in our virtual sharing events. And we would recommend that. We've also done additional activities specific to the coronavirus crisis. So we've been running some resiliency calls where we've been bringing in experts from government and from the private sector to brief on what they should be doing at the moment. And as we move from how to get everybody working from home through to how to get to a new normal and how to respond to the return to work in some parts of the world that's taking place now, we're going to keep briefing people on that and disseminating that. We've also published some white papers, including security tips for people and institutions who are working from home, and a white paper on the domain tool analysis that we referred to earlier, which people can find on our website under the coronavirus, fsisac.com, under the coronavirus COVID-19 tab.
We look forward to more interesting interviews or more interesting inputs from you and participating with you in further discussions in time to come. Thank you very much for a wonderful discussion.
My pleasure. It's good to catch up with you again.
Thank you very much.